Our next guests are the cast and creatives behind Amazon Prime Video's groundbreaking, critically acclaimed series Undone. Season 2 is premiering April 29th. Please welcome Rosa Salazar, Angelique Cabral, Constance Marie, Kate Purdy, and Hisco Hulsing to the South by Southwest studio. Thank you for joining us. We are live for the first time in 3 years at the South by Southwest studio.
Okay.
We're here with people. We got a cast. We got our own Waikia. I got to give a shout out to Waikia, a fan of the show, saw all season 1, gave me the download, knows all the character arcs. So Waikia, this is for you. She's watching right now. How does it feel to be with people talking about the premiere of season 2? Not behind a Zoom camera, actually looking at folks, interacting with fans of the show here at South by Southwest. I throw it out to anyone.
Yeah, it feels like great.
Yeah, it feels like surreal.
We've seen each other, but we haven't seen them even in years because we've been doing this all on Zoom.
Yeah, little boxes. They've been in little tiny boxes.
They directed us.
Because the first season premiered 3 years ago, 2019.
Wow.
Pre-pandemic. And then season 2 is about to drop April 29th. Did I get that right?
Wow,
That's why they pay me the big
nice.
money.
Yeah.
All right. And that's just like a
You get paid big money?
No, coupon. It's a coupon to the halal truck. I get one free gyro.
least
One
it's
free
halal.
gyro a day. But you guys filmed this in the pandemic.
Yes.
Pre-vaccines.
Yes.
That's right. Yes.
And Constance, you got
I got COVID.
COVID.
Yes. We would shoot 2 episodes and then take a break. And in one of those breaks is when I got COVID. On set was the safest place I ever felt because the amount of testing, and we had a COVID officer. But when I would go into my local Whole Foods, it was like the Wild Wild West, and apparently that's where I got it.
All right, so you maintained as the safety protocols as much as you could. You did the work, got it out. Coming out April 29th. It's a show which Waikia gave me the download, and I did my research, and I saw the trailers, and I saw it. I'm like, I've not seen a show like this.
Yeah.
And it's a show which is a drama, it's a murder mystery, it's science fiction, rotoscoping animation, which we'll talk about, family drama, right? And there's a lot happening. How would you describe, Rosa, the show to someone who has never seen it? It's coming in fresh, Undone season 2.
I never know how to describe the show.
I tried my best.
I'm like, I'm in it. I would describe Undone as it's definitely a dramedy. It's definitely genre bending. It's a surreal, non-linear look at the complexities of mental illness and family dynamics.
And this aspect
Well done.
That was really good.
I blacked out.
I
blacked out. Is that right?
That was right.
That was very good. Yeah, I was like,
I
well
was
done.
literally like, whoa, did she come up with
yeah.
that?
Like, I gotta use that.
I peed a little.
14-hour day, nice.
And it's about the complexities of the show.
You added the mental health aspect of it, and Kate, you were the co-creator, the showrunner, and the show, without giving too much away, depending on the viewer, right? Depending on the perspective, the lead character, is she having an episode? Is she having a schizophrenic breakdown? Or is she tapped into something that is so special, a talent, that could reveal perhaps the mystery behind her father's murder? And you never have a clear answer, even until the last second of season 1. And I know with your family's history, you've talked about how much did that inform in the making of the show? Because I think the way an audience, and oftentimes we talk about mental health and how we see people suffering from mental health, it's through a prism of, oh, they're crazy. You just dismiss them. And in this show, Rosa's character is dismissed, but she might be on to something truly special.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And we want to play with that tension throughout, and we do throughout the first season, and somewhat in the second season as well. But this idea of all the characters having their own perspectives of reality, coming to each other with their perspectives to try to sway or convince each other, trying to sometimes find a middle ground or some empathy. But we want to create that tension, and exactly that the viewer comes to it and is part of that creative process in terms of what is your perspective as a viewer, how are you interpreting what's happening, and that is what we strive for. Yeah.
And Angelique and Constance, you as respectively the sister and the mom of Rosa, you're sitting there and you're like, my daughter, always a problematic daughter, right?
Yeah, like, oh, get it together.
Yeah,
Come
get it
on.
together. I'm always trying to, like, you're always taking my thunder, my spotlight.
Right.
But she is experiencing something that she can't articulate, right?
Right.
And so then Kate comes to you and says, all right, here's Undone. And she probably got it in the punchline that you did, right? Like beautifully, articulate in like the 20 seconds that you pitched it. What made you sign on to this specific show, which is done in a very unique way with rotoscoping, which we're going to talk about in a second? Angelique, I'll start with you.
Well, I'll speak. I mean, I've known Kate for many years. I worked with her on a previous project. So for me, anything Kate does is magic. So I was like, absolutely,
I'm in.
I'm in.
You were the first person cast, no?
Yeah, like I just loved the story. I loved the idea of the genre bending of it, and like there's nothing like it. And so that to me is very exciting because I come from like a single cam comedy world. So this was very challenging. And I think exciting to dive in with these incredible actors. And I was very excited just to work with Kate as at the helm of this story. And it's also rare to see like a Latina family like on
as the leads,
and like three, not just one, and
not a token,
and I think that was very special to me, and I really wanted to lean into that, and it's something that I'm like struggling with, or I have in my life, like trying to figure out like where I fit in. So this spoke to me.
Let's pause and give a shout out to the OG who's with us, Constance.
Respect.
Who's here?
That's right.
And out of respect, Constance you've seen it all. You've been through it.
Me.
You have been through all of it.
Yeah.
George Lopez, you've been through it in TV.
Selena,
and you've been through it when you were the typecast as a spicy Latina.
Oh, yeah, always spicy.
Pre-2020, when the world briefly discovered diversity, until it now shoved it back in the box.
Yeah, we were hot, not not.
You've seen you've lived through it, and now you get handed the show. You're like, 3 Latinas are anchoring the show. You're not just the spicy sidekick. You are front and center. You're the mama, but you got 2 different daughters, complex. And when you got this opportunity, we were like, I can flex. Like I can finally drop the mic and be like, Constance Marie, that's right.
Yeah.
I've earned this.
Is that what I did? No, I think for me, I was just so excited because there's also the magical realism aspect of it, and because it's rotoscope, is it reality? Is it not reality? Are we? It was just beautiful, and between the Latinx females, the magical realism, and the fact of the family trauma and the family history, and trying to look at things that were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, her character triggers a lot of moments where we're like, whose side am I on? What do I really think? How far am I willing to go to support and love her? And that sort of family dynamic, be it magical realism or rotoscope, we all deal with on a human level when we have siblings, when we have family members we disagree with or we don't understand. And I loved the messy exploration of that.
It's messy, it's photorealistic, but you also bend time space literally in the show.
Right.
It's with rotoscoping, with the technology, I see you, but I'm like, I see an animated version of you, which works really well for the themes. And Hisco, I was watching I did my research. I watched an interview with you. We were talking about the challenges of directing this and giving it this visual aesthetic, where you're grounded in something real, but you're like, something's off. And so talk to us about how you film the actors and translate that to the rotoscoping type of animated vision that we see on Amazon Prime when it comes to the show.
Well, we film the actors in a green screen studio without an actual set, you know. So there's nothing there. There's just tape on the ground, and
always fun.
We do all the,
Amazon got all that money, so
yeah. So that,
it all went into tape.
And they got to know some tape, and a
lot of tape.
Yeah. But well, we design everything up front. So storyboards, designs, we make measurements, and they're all being taped on the ground so they don't walk through walls or things that will be painted in later on, you know. And once they're filmed and once it's edited, they're being rotoscoped here in Austin, Texas, by the way, by a studio called Minnow Mountain, by a group of artists.
Did they do Scanner Darkly also? This is me throwing
Some of them worked on Scanner Darkly.
Waking Life.
What?
Some of them were Waking Life.
Waking Life, maybe.
I know they work with Linklater because they just did Apollo 10.5.
So you
anyhow.
I'm sorry. No, for those who don't, you film it, and then you got artists digitally repainting real life footage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Drawing it and painting it, and then all the backgrounds that you see, all the environments are painted with oil paint on canvas in a very
it's like
classical way.
Beautiful to look at.
Oh my God,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think especially for the second season, which is much better and much.
Oh, you said second season
high
much
quality.
better. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of the paintings you could hang them in a museum. They're so
We
wonderful.
do. We each have
have
some,
some.
a
Stills.
painting. Yes.
You know, Kate, you could have gone in any different direction. In choosing the Richard was here. Richard, I'm a first name basis now. Rick Linklater was here, and I was talking. He's doing Apollo 10.5. He could have told that story in any medium. He chose animation, and you come from BoJack, another show which my friend who suffers from depression said is the best depiction of depression that he's ever seen through an animated talking horse. And you and your co-creator decided, you know, we're going to use this technology to tell this story. That was a creative choice. Why make that choice?
Because of the themes of the show. So we wanted there to be consistency of the reality. We didn't want it to feel like when Alma is experiencing an episode or kind of a break into different dimension, whatever that is, that it feels separate from the other reality. We wanted all the reality to be coherent and consistent. And it's actually Hisco who suggested rotoscoping because of all the micro expressions you can capture with these incredible actors, so that you get the performance and the emotion behind it, but then you also get, and that kind of uncanniness of reality too. Yeah. And I think the paintedness brings you into an imaginative space more than a photorealistic.
Where anything can happen.
Right, anything can happen, and it's part of a seamless reality.
I remember a discussion at the beginning that we had about whether we should make a, how do you say that, a different look for different things like dreams or reality or psychosis or, how do you say that, memories, what's the right word?
Right.
Memories.
Memories.
Whatever.
Your English is better than mine, man.
I know, my jet lag
You're
started to kick in. And, but we decided not to do that, just to make everything look the same, so everything is kind of suspicious. Now, reality itself is suspicious.
Yeah, you never know. Even as a viewer, you don't know, is this happening or is this being imagined?
What is real?
Yeah, what is real? And you know, I'm going to make an assumption that, Rosa, you did Alita. You were Alita, right?
You assumed correctly. I did Alita.
Yeah, but when you did Alita, they did the photo motion, green screen, so you have experience.
Not a ton of green screen, but yeah.
But did you use that experience like, okay, I got this. I could do rotoscope. I've done green screen before. I got this, no problem.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Alita was incredibly different, though. I mean, because I'm the camera and the subject, so I'm wearing all of the technology on my body. I've got a helmet with 2 high-def cameras in my face at all times, and my body is being picked up by hundreds of cameras strung up around a practical set. So we weren't on a green screen really more than a day out of a 100-day shoot or something like that. I'm in an actual practical environment or a volume being picked up by all of these sensors on my body that connect to cameras strung all around the set. For Undone, it's a complete, of course I was like, I did Alita, I could do this.
Do anything.
And she said it just like that with that accent.
Just like that. That's how she really talks.
And I bring it up.
Like that.
I bring it up a lot. You can ask
She really does.
All the time.
She goes, I did Alita.
I know I really do that.
Rosa Salazar.
Well, I have a good take, and I'm like, Alita Battle Angel.
Battle Angel is the full name.
In theaters everywhere, 2018. Anyway, but Undone is incredibly different. It's the opposite. I'm stripped of everything. We have 3 cameras, usually on sticks, and I am not wearing any makeup. My hair is barely brushed. I'm wearing the same, cartoon closet clothes every single day. We don't have
good prep for the pandemic.
We don't have a set. We don't have props.
For that. In his for that.
So everything is actually stripped from you when you're doing Undone. Whereas in Alita, it was like, we want to do the height of technology, but we also want to give you everything you could possibly need to bring this character to life, because you don't have you.
Right, and so being undone in many ways.
Exactly.
And for Constance and Angelique, you said you're used to the single camera. For both of you, was it just like, all right, I'm trusting you, Hisco and Kate.
Yeah, 100%.
You better make this look good.
We had no idea.
Because I got a green screen, I got nothing, I don't got hair and makeup.
Yeah.
You better make me look, this better work.
So it's like the story that you're trusting, really,
right.
And they're wearing
remember
makeup.
the very first, in the very beginning, when we're in the office space,
Right.
there was that camera where you had to keep turning just a little bit, and they were like, I don't know what they were doing. I was like, okay, I love the show, the story. I think it's going to be good. And they're like, can you just stand there and move just a little bit? It took quite a while, and I'm like, it was like an X-ray. What are they doing to me? And then when I finally saw, remember the lines, Hisco? The first time we actually got to see the drawing, the recreation of our face.
So exciting.
It was just black and white. but the emotions and expressions that they captured, and the eyes were so beautiful, and I just thought, this is like magic. So it was this discovery of every single level of how this was going to look. Like nobody had ever done it before.
And then
on
we
a
came
TV
into
series.
season 2 with that knowledge
Yes.
and that trust of them, because we saw how successful season 1 was. So
And how
season
pretty.
2, and how pretty. And so season 2, we were in the middle of a pandemic, right?
Right.
And so we were kind of like, this is awesome. Like we get to go to work and create together when no one else, the world was shut down.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like our like safe haven.
And it would
And we
sorry, go ahead.
No, we got to be together and do the show. It was so fun.
Has the technology, and we have to wait April 29th to see season 2, but it's been 3 years. I'm assuming that technology has even improved to
Yeah.
the point
It
where
seems-
aesthetically, when you guys see each other, like, we even look better now.
Yeah.
We do.
Looks so
We do.
good.
We look better now. They hid my no makeup and bad hair. I look good.
They really did.
They really did. They
Well,
did a
it's,
great
it's
job.
partly technology, because there are some new technologies to make it more steady, look more, steady. But the other thing is that, it took 1.5 year I always compare it with when we started season 1 with, building a car while driving it. Like some parts were missing while we're driving. We were inventing new stuff all the time. And then at the end of season 1, we had a very well-oiled machine. Everyone was super well trained. And then when season 2 started, I thought that we would I could jump into a Maserati and just put it on cruise control. You get,
You did the work. You survived.
yeah, and
No one
everybody
knew.
was.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they intended to do that. You're like, yes, I intended to do just that. And the season, without giving too much away, season 1 ends with Rosa, your character, unlocking the full potential of her powers. First, it's assumed that your dead father, who's played by the great Bob Odenkirk, a white man, gives you his power, but then you find out, it's the maternal side. I tap into the Latina maternal side to fully unlock my powers. I think that was a really brave, bold step. I think very empowering. And then season 1 ends on a cliffhanger. I know this because Waikia gave me an amazing rundown. and season 1 literally is a cliffhanger where, as the audience, you're like, okay, we're gonna see whether or not she actually has these time-bending powers, or whether or not this is just something that's a figment of her imagination. And Angelique, I believe you're with her. You're with your sister.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're crazy. No, and she's like, no, trust me. Our
Yep.
father's gonna come out from that cave right now. So without giving too much away, Kate, season 2, who comes out of the cave?
April
cave?
29th. Tune in and watch.
What? Yeah, exactly. There's no cave.
I think it depends on who you ask about all of this stuff. I mean, earlier you mentioned mental illness, or is it superpowers? I think if you ask someone from Western philosophy, they're going to be like, mental illness. If you ask someone from pretty much any other part of the world, they'll say like, well, yeah, maybe it could be some sort of otherworldly ability, some sort of shamanic ability. I think that the way Western culture looks at health in general is so ass backwards. Doesn't really make sense. I mean, we think of things linearly, while a lot of other cultures think of things as a spiral.
Right. To break the circular timeline.
Yeah.
Of the Hellenic type
Yeah.
of existential crisis. There's no, just live in the moment.
A to B,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. I
Right.
mean, nothing is linear. And so when we talk about things like rotoscope, this is like the only way to do something like this, to really represent, and we have a lot of that movement in our show. Like circular movement, spirals.
Well, in the middle of a scene even, it breaks.
Yeah.
Swirls, things
Swirls.
moving in and out. It's like, it's
Lot of movement.
expanding in all directions, and I think that's
else could
what
you
we're
do
trying to
it?
do with
Right.
consciousness and those questions of like, well, does she have power or does she not? And it's almost just breaking that question open and.
So you dig even deeper into
Yeah.
to the mystery of what's happening.
Or does it matter?
I remember
we
Kate.
also-
No, it
realize-
matters. It's season 2 matters.
You were
I
saying,
remember Kate saying in an interview once that you were more interested in asking questions than giving answers, and I think that's sort of the basis of the
Yeah.
whole series in a way.
Yeah.
So
And
if
then-
you- yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Well, and then I was going to say in season 2, we see that Constance and Becca's, we have our own secrets and our own abilities that we explore. So it's not, we realize that there's things to uncover and unpack there.
because the perspective that you're given in the show is that Constance and Angelique oftentimes are substitutes for how society views people who are suffering from mental illness, right? The frustration, the time, the anguish, especially you as a sister who had to do everything perfect, and the anguish that, all the attention's on you, the mom trying her best to get along, and then to have them coming along for the journey and to see that, we're kind of, not everyone's perfect. Everyone has, especially during a pandemic,
Right.
that we're still trying our best to survive as 6 million people have died.
Right.
We're going to reach the 1 million Grimstone mark in America. I feel like all of us are like, we all are
have
languishing.
stuff.
We all have stuff.
We all have stuff. And you see that in season 2
Yes.
in this family, that we all have it.
Kate, how did, and maybe it didn't, but the pandemic, as you're writing this, as you're doing this, how did the pandemic then inform the themes of season 2?
Well, we actually wrote it pre-pandemic. We were producing it during the pandemic. So it didn't actually
All right.
influence it. But I think, it was wonderful to be creating it together during the pandemic and processing it together.
And I feel like weirdly it was like timely.
It feels
right? Like a lot of
timely.
it was
Right.
like
Yeah.
touching on a lot of the same topics that we dealt with during
Right.
the pandemic, but they'd already written it.
I think
Sometimes the brilliant
crazy.
minds
That's
have
right.
foresight.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the
They were ahead
pandemic,
of it.
you have all spoken to, it allowed for a lot of introspection. It allowed for a lot of us to sort of drop pretense and be with ourselves and look inward. And I would say season 2, in a lovely way, does that. It's sort of a journey that these characters go on, which is an external mirroring of an internal journey towards self-awareness and self-knowledge. And hopefully, I think that can be some of the best lessons we can take from the pandemic is we all got stuff. We're all dealing with it. We're all looking
trying our
at
best.
it.
We're trying our best.
A little introspection go a long way.
Right, in
Right.
particular in season 1, we look at Rosa's character as if there's something wrong with her to fix with her.
You have to
or
fix her.
explore. Right.
That's how our
Yeah.
characters
And then
deal with it, right?
season 2, the lens is like, well, why is she the way that she is? What does Camilla bring to the table that informs her?
And what does Camilla's mother
Yes.
bring to the table? What does,
And what does she, exactly, the generational fragmenting emotionally that has endured generation after generation, and the results and the effect that it has multi-generationally. It's such it's like therapy, the most beautiful looking therapy I've ever seen on television.
Rotoscoped therapy.
Yes.
And congratulations on the show. Congratulations on season 2. It's premiering April 29th on Amazon
Thanks.
Prime. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you for being live with us at South by Southwest Studio. You can watch all of our studio interviews on the South by Southwest TV app, available on Apple TV, Roku, Android TV, and Amazon Fire. These interviews are also available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SXSW. And for a complete list of our interview schedule, check out sxsw.com/studio. I'm Wajhat Ali. Thanks for watching.